Okay, hello everyone. How you doing? Welcome to the Gardening Channel with me. I'm your host, Mike Ventura. Certainly my pleasure to have you with us. And so I do apologize for not posting any videos sooner than this from last season, but I had a few challenges this year to get the garden up and running before I post another video. And in this video, first I'm going to give you an overview of the garden. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about each phase on several different videos of what we've done differently to the garden, our soil preparation for the garden this year, and some really cool things that we've done, such as companion gardening, helping the bee population come in, what are we using as for plant material, vertical gardening, which is a really cool thing to do, and I'll talk to you about the vertical gardening as we get further into this. So let's dive into prepping the garden for the gardening season, for the growing season. And so beginning in April, I went ahead and I used grow mulch, I used bone meal, I used blood meal, I used earthworm castings, and I mixed all that into the soil prior to obviously any kind of planting. Then what I do is I go ahead and I kind of figure out how I'm going to grow everybody. In my case, I grow and everything gets tilled into the soil. And by the way, this is a fully organic garden. There's absolutely no pesticides used in this garden whatsoever. I rely exclusively on predators, natural predators such as ladybugs, lacewings, parasitic wasps, a really cool little pest called the hoverfly, which does a great job on controlling the insects. Also, I use allelopathic gardening, which is plant material, and I'll point it out to you to keep pests away from the garden, which works really, really well. And so the garden was initially planted back in about the end of April. And it took a little bit of time to get going because we had a lot of weather extremes up and down, but we finally got the garden going. One of the ways I love to garden, because I have a bit of a confined growing environment. As you can see, the garden is maybe about 30 feet long, maybe 40 feet long by about 6 feet deep. So I grow everything, a lot of my vegetables and herbs are grown vertically. And as you can see, I use a netting back there, which works outstanding. And what I do is, on the netting, as you can see it, I have steel pipes, which are into the ground. And I use plastic zip ties. And there's a PVC right there, as you can see it. And there's another one on top right there. And I have these, and this is just for the tomatoes, and I'm growing cherry tomatoes in here. I'm also growing Romas. You can see the Romas down there. Over here you can see the cherry tomatoes, and I have a lot of cherry tomatoes. I harvest them almost every other day. And finally we have early girl tomatoes, and you can see the early girls down there. And so what's really cool about this garden is that being vertical, and it's also in a full sun, south-facing environment, okay? But by using organic products in the soil, such as the bone meal, the blood meal, the earthworm castings, it really, and in conjunction with grow mulch, it keeps the soil really opened up. I introduce a lot of oxygen into the soil. So consequently, all the micronutrients, iron, zinc, magnesium, are all available to the root system, which really helps the plant out a lot. Now, getting back to vertical gardening. Vertical gardening takes a little bit of work. As you can see how I have the plastic zip ties attached to the steel posts. The plastic netting is strung out across the back, and then I just basically tie the tomato plants to the netting. And as an example, cherry tomatoes, they take off really fast, and they do great being grown vertically. And so one of the keys to success for growing a vegetable garden, especially if you're going to grow just tomatoes, let's talk about tomatoes right now, is the training process. You notice the size of the trunk on that tomato plant. That's my cherry tomato down there. And at the beginning of the growing season, you want to go ahead, and I'll point that out. There's your trunk. What you want to do is you want to prune off any low-hanging branches and really strengthen the trunk out, because you're redirecting the energy of the plant to really get that trunk to develop nice and strong. Next, what you want to do is, when you start getting any what they call water sprouts, you can prune some of those water sprouts back, because you want to direct all the energy into production of the fruit. And aside from just using the organic materials in the soil, I also do a once a week drench with a liquid fertilizer, which really gets the plant going. I don't grow a fast tomato, I just grow a very healthy tomato, and there's a difference. But you notice the color of the foliage is a deep green color, a lot of fruit production. You notice all the flower production, and that's because of all the phosphorus, which is the bone meal. So it's very, very important that you maintain a good, healthy diet with the soil. Over here at the Romas, you also notice we have a lot of Romas sitting down there. And once again, I go through and I take any of the small branches out, and I really focus on getting moisture down deep. This entire garden is done by drip irrigation. Also, what I do is, at least once a day, I'll take my soaker hose and I'll soak the soil just to make sure you got plenty of available water down there, so the plant is never running out of water. Now, getting back to the vertical gardening, what I also do behind each one of these steel posts, and the posts are in the ground about maybe 20 inches deep. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of weight hanging off these posts. And that silver push in the back is just it's running electrical power into my backyard. In the back, though, let's see if you can see it. There is a piece of rebar. There's a rebar right there, so you can see it. It is right there. That steel post in the ground about 20, as I said, about 20 inches deep. That rebar right back there only adds this support to steel post because of the amount of weight that's going to be hanging off of this. That's plastic netting, as I mentioned, which does a great job of supporting the tomato plant. And all I do is I just keep zip tying on here the plastic netting. And then as far as the tomato plants go themselves, you can see I use the green garden tape right there throughout the entire garden, and it does a great job of keeping the tomatoes attached to the green fence. And so consequently, I get a beautiful full sun environment on these guys, and they get plenty of sunshine. Now, moving over here. This is the zucchinis. And zucchini are a little bit challenging growing vertically, but they work really good, and I'll explain to you why. First of all, you want to pay attention to make sure they get plenty of direct sunlight. And that steel post, again, that's a PVC tube, which goes up. And you can see right there, I use electrical tape to hook over the top of the PVC. And what I do is I go ahead and I just keep checking the zucchini, and I keep tying it up. That way I get plenty of air circulation at the very bottom around the zucchini plants, and it does an outstanding job. So I get plenty of flower production. As you can see, here's another one over here. I get a lot of flower production out of it. And being a full sun environment, I have no problem getting bees coming in here, because you want as much bee activity as you can possibly get. It's really, really important to have bee production when you're growing zucchini. There's a good shot of the netting that I use, which does a very, very good job, and the PVC tube. And to give you a shot of the rebar so you can see it, here's a piece of the rebar that I work with. Does a very good job of supporting the PVC, and a PVC rebar rather is in the ground about 10 inches deep. And again, everything was planted in April after final frost. So we had some weather extremes, but we got the garden up and running. And then here's my cucumber. The cucumber is doing extremely well. Okay, give you an idea. There's one of the cucumbers right there. Okay, and every one of those flowers, and I've got a lot of flowers on these guys, is a cucumber. So again, this is a cucumber, my cucumber cage, and as you can see how it's set up, just again with the plastic netting, and I've got the rebar driven into the ground back there. You also notice I have rebar right back here. which is attached to the plastic pole, and also there for additional support. Okay, so I wanted to kind of give you a little bit of an overview of what's going on. Here's my mint, okay, and I explained that's our mint right there, and we have peppers in here. That's my lavender over there, and that's for attracting the bee population. I want to get the bees in here. We also have cilantro, Italian parsley, and I grow the gypsy sweet peppers, which are right there, and these are bell peppers. So in this first video, I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of an overview. There's my basil, of how we started the garden. There's more lavender right there, and again, here's one more peppermint, the mint plant. So I just want to kind of give you folks an overview of what's going on with the garden. And the next video, I'll be talking more specifically about each item we've got. Like we have marigolds, why I use marigolds. And so this will end this first video, and enjoy, and then we'll talk about more about the garden. Thank you very, very much, and stay tuned for the next video.